Right, good evening. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission, and December 5th, 2022 at 6:30. We're located in the City Hall Council Chambers at 101 South Main Street in Joshua, Texas. We'll go ahead and get started and announce that a call to order and announce that a quorum is present. And we'll move on to the citizens forum. The Planning and Zoning Commission invites citizens to speak on any topic. However, unless that item is specifically noted on the agenda, the Planning and Zoning Commission is required in the Texas Open Meetings Act to limit its respondent to responding with a statement of specific factual information, reciting the city's existing policy, for directing the person making the inquiry to visit with city staff about the issue. No commission deliberation is permitted, and each person will have 3 minutes to speak.
No one has time.
Anybody wish to speak during our forum tonight? All right, we're moving right along. We'll jump into the regular agenda. Moving to action number 1, which discuss, consider, and possible action on the meeting minutes from November the 7th, 2022. Everybody get a chance to review those minutes? Sure. Okay. Any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll second.
Oh, you want to be the motion? I got a second. All those in favor? All right. Moving on to number 2. Discuss, consider, and possible action on approving a site plan regarding 0.278 acres of land known as lots 5, 6, 7, and part of a block 10 cattle peak edition WW Virus survey as character number 29, County of Johnson, Texas, locally known as 205 North Main, to allow for a commercial use of a business office. Aaron?
The subject property is within the Heritage Overlay District and is a plat of record with the Office of the Johnson County Clerk. Site plan approval shall be required for a change of use from residential vacant to non-residential or mixed use in an existing structure. Developments within the HB Overlay District shall be subject to design review as part of the site plan review process. Unless specifically noted within the section, all requirements of this ordinance apply to the HB Overlay District. Design review is required in the district to ensure that development within the district is in conformance with design guidelines for HB and that the proposed development is architecturally compatible and within the historic character of HB. All applications shall go before the Historical Preservation Committee before being scheduled for the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Historic Preservation Committee shall recommend to the Planning and Zoning Commission any modification of designation, sites, building structures, objects, or areas as landmarks to be included in the Heritage Preservation Overlay District. The Planning and Zoning Commission will then make its recommendation to the City Council. Site plan approval shall be required for the following. I highlighted the area that applies to this development, a change of use from residential vacant to non-residential or mixed use in an existing structure. And the Heritage Preservation Committee has made their recommendation for approval on November 28th of 2022.
Prior to the meeting, we received this from. So everybody get a chance to look at it. A lot of it's in the packet.
Yes, yeah, it's in the packet. Okay.
Any discussion, any questions? Need to put in? Very clear. Yep. Yep. No further discussion, I'll entertain a motion. I make a motion here for, yeah. Second. Motion in a couple seconds. All those in favor? You can say.
Yeah, I got Therese. He was first.
Move on, we're going to open up at 6:34. Hearing. Consider amendments to section 10.10.8 of the zoning ordinance.
Okay, so the subdivision ordinance was adopted in the year of 2020. Our engineer has gone through and made some of the changes as recommended by council. We've gone through and added some things and removed some things. Most importantly was like a more clear area of the preferred tree list, which was now it's been added under the protected tree. And then it'll be followed by the trees that are not protected. And the permit fees were addressed. And from the last meeting, council was pretty good with all the changes that were made. I don't know if y'all have any discussion or if you want to make some additional changes.
Were the issues brought up by council because too many trees are being removed, or is that what the concern was?
Well, they never did really say, they did make reference to Cooper Valley Phase 5.
Yeah, was it individual council? Did somebody individually bring it up?
Yeah, it was,
That we need to go through this process.
it was,
Angela Nichols.
Angela Nichols.
Okay. And so I see the changes here. So there's no size requirements on the trees. Is that wrong? Kind of how I'm reading it?
No, it's still,
The first one, the purpose of the city should be saved or identified by characteristics, a tree which is a diameter of 18 inches or greater, ready for 12 inches above the ground. That's been striked out.
which one? Okay,
Does yours have the notes above it in red?
yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's still, it's still addressing that same size. Because the box that he has up top is what he wants put in there.
So what I see from that is like the net change really is going from, instead of saying identified by individual characteristics of the trees by the pre-approved list, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's supposed to approve by the city.
And I believe, Pardon, you wanted
Yes, I got,
that lowered?
yes. I sent it to Alice. And I've written it out, but I'll just talk about it in a minute. The oak trees in this part of the world are normally found in lots. They're not out in the middle of the open. I did some research and found that a diameter inch of an oak tree in Texas, multiply that by 3.5, and that gives you the age of it. Diameter inches by age. So we're looking at an 18-inch,
If you're a tree.
yeah. But I would propose that we reduce that in this area to 12 inches. Open these mots up and allow these trees that have been stunted to go ahead and develop into the pretty nice residential type trees that are currently being dozed down. I know we've had several developments come around that were pretty well skinned off with that 18-inch rule, where there were a lot of 12-inch and mature and stunted trees that would have made pretty trees. I know where I particularly live, especially with the trees that were left originally, were not anywhere near 18 inches. They were more than the 8 to 12 inch ones, and we've got some pretty trees in our front yard now. But that would be one issue that I would have. Next, I think found in 8.15. The other one is you're looking at 8.15.3 G. It says second sentence says all the areas within the driveway, sidewalk, patio, septic tank, lateral line, parking area, pool, associated decking area within 12 inches of the building foundation. Does that really mean 12 inches or 12 feet?
What section are you reading?
I mean, 8.15.3 G. Down at the bottom of page 21 is active.
They're saying it's within 12 inches of foundation.
They're exempted to within 12 inches, but you can't leave the 12 inches from a house, a foundation, driveway, or anything else, and not have it either die or tear up the concrete.
Well, The way that I read this, my understanding, if it's 12 inches, they're exempt from the tree protection, which will make them unsafe to remove it. So if it is within 12 inches of foundation, they're allowed to remove that.
Right, but it's 12 inches adequate,
Oh, you're saying
or
more.
should it be?
Could be 18 or okay. I know.
So it is recommended that you shouldn't have any trees near your foundation anyway.
Right.
So, I guess 12 inches is
And
adequate.
they
for
just,
this
they
area.
just look odd because there's 12 feet on other things, D, I don't know, D, non-residential developments is probably about 12 feet, I just wondered if that was just an error in what they meant on that.
Yeah, it's 12 inches is probably accurate for the first reading there. If anything beyond that, you know, some of these lot lines don't have 12 feet to the next property. It's like promo foundation. It's real close on some of these.
Yeah.
Such, so I mean,
Yeah,
that's
'cause,
it. But I don't know if there's an issue on that type of, you know, with that in there now, has anybody said, look, I'm 2 feet away, can I get an exception?
no, we haven't.
What's, see, we know what the recommended distance of a tree from your foundation? What's the recommended distance to have a tree from your foundation?
Drip line at least. Would be the,
That's gonna be
the canopy.
24 inches.
Is on a big, I mean,
Yeah.
Where the trees are.
yeah.
Further
Oh,
next
drip line.
to-
Yeah,
I mean,
Well, like Gary was saying, some of these subdivisions only have a 5 foot set property line, so
they're taking the trees out of them.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Or,
Just wanted to make sure that wasn't, right in there, since on the non-residential. Pardon. Yeah, on the non-residential, it's got it at 12 feet
Where's that at?
on D, and the G on the same page,
Yes, sir.
non-residential developments. But deep of building foundation.
So Robert, you're saying to lower the diameter to 12, so we can take more trees out? So
So
that,
so it'd take less trees
oh,
out.
okay, got it.
And protect more of the trees, they'd be small.
Yeah,
I just didn't know why we had it as 12 feet on non-residential and 12 inches on residential.
Mhm.
See where I'm talking there?
that might have don't have an answer on that one, but other than commercial, you're gonna have more square footage. I mean, so maybe they're basing that the length being greater than what you would have on a residential home, which is less.
Right. But I mean, why 12 feet on one, 12 inches on the other? Why wouldn't it be consistent? I used to edit stuff.
Right. Well, we can take a look at that.
Right. on that.
Yeah, I'll make a note on that and make sure with our city engineer to just to see what he thinks about it, and then
just clarification, 'cause
Yeah.
At the end, here's the other part. When it comes to this one. And the fees. In the fee schedule.
Mhm.
Number item. B
correct.
to penalty for removing gangs or protecting trees without permit, $200 fine range. So, you know, they currently got here for 36 inches, but let's say it's 40 inches. And they can spend that $8,000. And just remove the tree. Roll it into the value in, none of it matters.
Mhm.
So if we lower that threshold. It doesn't cost them that much, you know, you're talking, you know, a 12-inch tree costing $2,400 to take the tree.
Are you talking about the penalty for removing
Right.
one?
Cause
I guess-
there's nothing, they can remove anything they want, they just have to pay the penalty, right?
Well, no,
There's no other-
some areas are exempt from
Well,
having
yeah,
to pay
so
any,
depending on where's that.
right?
Yeah, we get that,
But
but
they, yeah,
in general, they just pay the tree. And so who determines that before this is done?
We, well, the fee,
Well, determines that, hey, you can't touch this tree when it's platted or anything like that.
right?
Who goes out there and says, here's what you got?
That's up to the surveyor, but
Okay.
we're supposed to be having these surveyors doing the tree assessment. And that's the
Yeah.
whole point of having,
Based
the
off
survey.
base.
Are they doing a
Correct.
topo survey?
right?
They want to just somebody decides to allocate it into whatever their plans are.
Last thing.
But if we lower that threshold. Let's just keep reforming it.
I think that was he did some research on other cities, and that was like a
Average.
average number.
are you recommending, before we move on to the last one, should we recommend moving that? Or does the 12 inches allow us more leeway? Meaning, if we say it's 12 feet, 15 feet, that gives somebody with a foundation of 30 by 40, now they can go out 12 feet for each side to remove trees. It just gives the builder more leeway. So I can take all the trees out and be penalized. Whereas if I'm stuck at 12 inches, I need to get approval or an exemption from the city before I start cutting trees out on a 30 by 40 pad. Now I'm up to a 54 by, 100-foot pad. So now.
West Aaron City is here, come up with what's
Yeah.
my bigger issue is why is one of them 12 feet, one of them 12 each.
Right.
We need.
I'll get clarification from Steve just to make sure, and we'll make the correct changes.
The only other issue I've got is on the non-protected list.
Mhm.
Why don't we have mountain cedar or blueberry juniper, Epipus guy on that list? Mountain cedar is a primary cause of allergies. And it's really an invader species. It was not here originally. And the cedar duck, those little needles that go in the ground are toxic to grass and other vegetation. Nature made it where it wouldn't be competing with anything. And it's really not a yard tree or a desirable tree.
So, I did bring that point up to Steve, our engineer. And the ones that you're talking about, is it on the preferred tree list?
So the non-protected trees don't have.
Right. So the way he sees it is, or interprets, is that if it's not on the preferred tree list, then it's not approved. So regardless if it's not on the non-protected trees, then, it still wouldn't be approved.
Well, I know in the area behind our house over there are big cedar trees that were flagged.
Hmm.
And one of my neighbors, I'm not gonna name, asked the contractor, to please remove that tree.
Mhm.
Because it was up against his property line, he didn't want the cedar. But, I think we ought to have that in that list.
Yeah, we can add it.
They got the cedar elm in a preferred tree list. That difference.
Cedar elm. Cedar, mountain cedar.
So what is it called? Mountain cedar?
Mountain cedar, / blueberry juniper. I put it on that, note I gave to Alice, and it's Juniperus asii is the scientific name, if you wanna put it on there. But
And I did share your comments with Aaron, so he has it.
that's it.
So- Are y'all, do all of y'all agree on changing the diameter from the 18 to 12?
I would be fine with that. Yes. What, do we know what's comparison to other cities?
No, it varies. I mean, some have it even smaller than that.
No,
Yeah.
you need to change the 18 inches down to 12 inches.
Well,
That are protected instead of.
But just as a general consensus, answer Aaron's question, what does everybody feel about lowering tree size? It's
From 18 down to 12.
12, yeah, everybody agree with that, or? Yeah, Aaron, have a problem? Yeah. I think the general consensus then is yes, that we would be okay with lowering it down.
Really, I'd rather have it at 6, but you know. That ain't gonna happen.
The question I had is, under. On page 94. Page 24 in the packet. Where it says tree replacement, a tree listed in the city preferred tree line to compensate for the removal of a protected tree, and it says a sufficient number of trees shall be planted to equal in caliper the diameter of the trees removed. So whatever size tree removed has to be replaced with the same size, because then it goes further to say that the caliper has to be at least 3 inches. So am I reading that wrong?
15-inch tree would be 3-inch trees.
3-inch trees.
Is that what we're saying? That's what it is. So depending on the area, if you're doing a single lot and they remove one, they have to plant it with 5 trees in that back area.
Yeah, that seems like a.
Just because now if you put in 5 live oaks or 5 red oaks, you can see in 5 years, now that's gonna be a problem.
Where was the area that you?
94 or 24 in the papers.
Okay, so
You take out a 15-inch tree, that's the way I read it, is you have to replace it with, like Jerry said, but now you're planting 5 3-inch red oaks back there. Which would look beautiful, but it'd be a problem 55 years from now when you have.
9,000 square foot lot.
So I don't understand why that's listed, especially if you're moving a cedar tree that's 12 inches, like that can be replaced with just a 3-inch caliper on the preferred list.
Or maybe 6-inch.
Yeah. I just think that's something that needs to be considered. That's a lot of trees you're asking to be replaced.
right, so I think that
But if
that
it's something-
statement only refers to the a protected tree that's
Yeah.
being removed, not a non-protected tree.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah.
That's what it's, right here.
Okay.
It has it right there for you.
Oh, yeah, protected.
But you also got to keep in mind that if it falls within the building blueprint or an easement, a drainage easement, they're all exempt. So this doesn't apply.
Or back to Valley, they can just rip it out and pay the $8,000.
I was gonna say, this,
So then why does it even?
that's what I was gonna ask, is this an alternative to paying a fine?
Only if it's within outside of those areas that are exempt. You know, that's I guess that's that section kind of addresses the cut and fill. There are some,
They just plant 5 of them outside the easement on the sidewalk area and just. Don't see.
because there could be some that fall within that cut and fill area. We haven't had any, but I guess that's just put in there for in case if it ever does
So we go
come
back
up.
to this, somebody removed a 14-inch oak because it's 14 inches affecting the foundation, so now they had to plant 4 trees on that property, or they pay 14 times 200, they had to pay the $2,800 fine.
Right. Well, there again, outside the building blueprint of the area, they're exempt.
You know what I'm saying? According to building blueprints, it's 12 inches from your foundation.
Right.
So you have a tree that's 14 inches from the foundation, and I know it's simple, but you understand, I just don't understand how this applies, because it seems redundant. Number one, if we move it to 12 feet, they're protected, so it just kind of doesn't matter. That's a lot of trees to remove versus.
Right.
If you have a price trees, you have a 3-inch caliber tree on these preferred lists, it's cheaper to pay.
I was gonna say, yeah,
than to be
that's a
trees.
5 tree itself, yeah.
Right.
I just something I saw that just it didn't make sense. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, we can bring it up to Steve and see what he says. Do you want to address this one or do you want to change the well, first we are going to address the 12-inch and 12.
Yeah, I knew
12 feet.
that was just an example. I know we're gonna discuss that. That might be. May not matter, but. And if it needs to stay in there as an alternate, that's fine. I just, it's confusing to read that. If someone's gonna remove a 20-inch oak tree, why are they gonna replace it with
If they want to protect the tree.
They have 5 more trees or whatever.
You really should put a perspective on it.
Yeah, that was just clarification.
Yeah, that's what it doesn't get disturbed or added up with the numbers, but I see that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
looked at a lot of different cities and it's all different. I mean, it's hard to really come up to a good plan.
Okay, in the definitions, it spells out, you know, where the drip line is of the tree and the definitions of construction fencing being utilized.
Mhm.
But I don't see anywhere in here where it spells out where you're supposed to use this construction fencing. And we typically, if you're gonna save a tree, you're supposed to put construction fencing around the drip line edge of it, where nobody's parking under it, nobody's adding dirt to it or removing dirt or anything.
Mhm.
That's, I mean, it's spelled out in the definition, but it's not spelled out on how that stuff is supposed to be utilized during the construction process.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I've seen somewhere other in this area where it does give some more detailed, or detailed explanation as to it's designed to go around to protect the tree.
Yes. But it doesn't, at least from what we have in front of us, it doesn't, I don't see where it spells that out.
Or maybe it was another city I was reading, but
You just get the definition of what we're.
I think I want to say I did see that. So what would you propose? I mean,
We have another section here addressing, using, the construction fencing or whatever, I mean, it had a definition.
About it, right there.
But that just, it says what it is.
Probably, will be this place to rest.
Just add on more to the definition. But the preservation of the trees that are to be kept on the property are to be fenced off with construction fencing or
Basically,
whatever's in
procedure.
the listing at the drip line around the tree to protect the root system.
Critical root check.
All these are just definitions. It's not really telling somebody what they're supposed to be doing. I think is there more pages past 96?
I believe this was the whole section. Well, it should have been.
Well, it's supposed to be in the required application section.
I wonder if under that. Process before the verdict.
Sure.
Why is the, why is it that the share, find it here? Protection, we don't see protection, it's moving there.
So you want like a more detailed explanation under the protection fencing definition?
Or, in the, we're in the required application area or something, just stating that they
if they're gonna be protecting the tree with, what we've been talking about earlier, you know, they need to be putting some kind of a construction fencing around that area so that it's not, the root system of it's not damaged by
Mhm.
parking it, putting heavy equipment on it, removing the soil or adding soil.
And that may have to go in the subdivision ordinance. That may have to go outside that, we may have to redo the ordinance that before construction begins, you know, that all the required trees, where trees are kind of like inspection where someone couldn't see it, can let it inspect if these are marked properly, just like we would with anything else. So that might have to go with a different ordinance, because it's already labeled here or defined in here.
That's
It's one thing to put a ribbon around a trunk. And say we're gonna save this tree, but then if you put 2 feet of dirt on top, or you remove a bunch of soil, or you put heavy equipment to disturb the roots, it may not die right away, but it's probably gonna die within a couple of years.
Mhm.
We don't want to prohibit removal of the undergrowth that's under that tree. The scrub, and we,
No, I mean, because you're probably gonna want that grass or something.
yeah, but I think
Probably
it's limited
right now.
limited time.
There's a couple of trees that
Road and choppers and stuff.
the wall is 2 feet under the
Trying to
dirt.
all the underbrush stuff. The smaller stuff.
Right, that's not like adding 2 feet of dirt on top.
Right.
Or even removing that. By changing the grade.
Yeah, but like, we can put that in, when we're not. So we're saying, it's like, down the drip line, and then now you.
But when you do clear, the lot. Clear.
We have a definition.
Yeah.
That's it, but there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
It says you have to do this and here's how you gotta do it.
So I guess we could apply that definition under the required application of number 4. Where it says the location of all protected trees on the site to be removed or replaced, as well as trees to be protected. And then we can add that definition of the protection.
Utilizing construction fence or whatever the definition, or say the definition of the approved fencing would be put in place around the drip line of the trees.
Yeah, with fencing.
Yeah, we can work on that. I don't know if Steve can have it by council, but
That's okay. Thought we could do it next meeting.
okay.
Is this something you guys want to bring back next month to look at all the changes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Unless you said something else.
There's no rush.
Well, they have been handling this.
They just want action on it, just to be reviewed. Okay. Okay.
Right.
All right. I guess,
And Richard, I probably, visit there and, before you start, just to make sure I'm on the same page.
It
Right.
sounds like you are.
Yeah.
That looks like a good place to put it, so.
Okay.
You just gotta make sure thing after the other, everyone's, because when you're talking about getting land cleared and stuff for there. Just given that, if you get a big enough tree and you have some drainage issues that have to be addressed too. They're probably gonna rid the tree as well.
When they come back and ask for some kind of special variance or something, like.
You hope so, or just pay
Or pay it.
Right.
That seems like that's almost too easy way.
do I need to, I didn't realize we didn't close this public hearing. Or
Yes.
we just closed it all.
Yes, when he,
You're already close, you just didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we called it 6:34, nobody here, so.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Any other further discussion on this? I think, we'll entertain, do I need to make a motion to table it?
if we get a motion to, excuse me, to continue it at the next meeting for discussion.
Everybody see that? Motion. All those in favor?
And if it's okay, once we get all the changes done by the engineer, we'll email it out. So one's got time to look at it and the clarification before the next meeting.
Not disturbing the grade under. As well.
Okay, start.
Anything else otherwise? Maybe get your basis. We'll adjourn at 7:05.